I see the whole to my wonderful baby brothers and sisters of record that waiting they happen. Asari Dokubo don't go open mouth. Come they cry out to say, say you don't lose over 3,000 men since 2021. But the trust NigerianNews.com now, they want to publish it now. Look at what they publish. Make I read what they publish. That's why I will play this video to you now so you got to understand everything. But don't mind what they say, this one is total lie. The true picture is that Asari Dokubo was crying yesterday that he have lost over 3,000 men. Say his 3,000 men don't kiss the dust in the land of Imo State. Now all this bye where they happen everywhere. Now Asari Dokubo they buy them. Now Asari Dokubo now they buy our people. Look at what he said. Asari Dokubo cries out over say my 3,000 men unpaid for 44 months in Imo State since 2021. But that's not the true picture. The true picture is he have lost 3,000 men. Please listen to this message, and as you are watching, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Happy new month. It shall be well with all of us. Ekeke try informa, Ori try informa, Afobiko for try informa, Nkwo for try informa. Let's go there, my people. Ogadro, ase emengwangwa, emearodaji. Please follow us on all our social media handles and make sure that this message goes viral. Asari Dokubo. In fact, if you watch where he's crying like a mumu on a live TV show, my brother, even I say they let her come out the picture because I saw the video yesterday now for Facebook where he's crying bitterly. If you see tears, but this morning, although I did not download the video, but I saved the link. When I came this morning, I could not find the video again. I would have downloaded the video yesterday. But anyway, that's by the way. Let us listen to this clip where this our brother is making it very, very clear that Asari Dokubo don't they shout to they turn it to another thing. But anyway, that's by the way. Please watch this.
Former Niger Delta militant leader Alhaji Mujahid Asari Dokubo has revealed that his operatives, deployed to Imo State since 2021, have gone unpaid for 44 months, despite sustained frontline operations that have resulted in injuries and deaths among his men. In a frank interview with The Sun, published on Sunday, March 29, 2026, Dokubo disclosed that his group was invited by the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari through the Department of State Services, DSS, in October 2021. Their initial mandate, he said, was to secure elections and dismantle camps allegedly linked to the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and its Eastern Security Network, ESN, in Imo and Anambra states. The deployment has since become permanent in Imo. As I am talking to you, for 44 months, I have not been paid. For the services of the men who are fighting at the forefront, getting injured and dying, Dokubo told the newspaper. He added that he has over 3,000 personnel in the theater, and that his group has conducted joint operations with various military formations across Imo, Plateau, Niger, and Zamfara states. We have been in Imo permanently since 2021. If somebody was not paid for 44 months in Imo, what do you expect him to achieve? He asked. Dokubo insisted his outfit is not involved in pipeline surveillance contracts, but supports such initiatives. Okay. He claimed his group has been funding operations from personal savings to prevent collapse. The revelation comes amid persistent allegations that Dokubo's men recruited as part of the Imo state government's Ebubiagu security outfit in 2021 are themselves contributors to the wave of insecurity, kidnappings, and killings that have plagued Imo and other parts of the southeast. Lolo Neka Chimezie, the national president of the Igbo Women Assembly and a vocal critic of security arrangements in the region, has repeatedly linked Dokubo's activities and those of the Imo state government under Governor Hope Uzodinma to the manufactured insecurity in Biafra land. In recent public statements and video analyses, Chimezie has questioned the whereabouts and conduct of Dokubo's recruits, describing their operations as part of a broader pattern of state-sponsored violence aimed at discrediting IPOB and the Biafra struggle. She has accused federal and state authorities of contracting external elements, including Dokubo's group, to carry out killings and create chaos in order to justify heavy militarization. She has consistently maintained that the Nigerian military and affiliated groups rather than IPOB or ESN, bear primary responsibility for the insecurity in the Southeast. Her latest interventions, including discussions on CRIES rocking IPOB and Asari Dokubo's activities in the Southeast, have drawn attention to how unpaid or poorly managed vigilante-style operations exacerbate rather than resolve the crisis. IPOB has long leveled similar accusations against Dokubo, describing him as a major actor in the persecution of Igbo people and the sponsor of havoc in Imo State. IPOB alleged that Dokubo was hired by the federal government to recruit cultists and militants specifically to undermine IPOB and ESN, with his operations responsible for many of the unexplained killings and abductions attributed to unknown gunmen. IPOB has repeatedly called for international probes into the sources of Southeast insecurity, pointing fingers at politicians, ex-militants like Dokubo, and state-backed security outfits. As insecurity continues to ravage parts of Imo State, with frequent reports of shootings, kidnappings, and community clashes, Dokubo's disclosure of prolonged non-payment has raised fresh questions about the sustainability and accountability of privatized or quasi-official security arrangements in the Southeast. The situation remains fluid, with residents caught between official narratives of fighting insecurity and persistent accusations that some of those deployed to restore peace may instead be perpetuating the violence. Family Writers Press International.
So that is the message. And I see I'm now. Because some people, when we are telling them that Asari Dokubo's men are the ones behind the killings in ORSU, Okigwe, and the other part of Imo State, he specifically tell you that over 3,000 men that have been recruited and deployed to Imo State. As what? Because the zoo government never come out to tell us that Asari Dokubo is a registered military outfit, just like Wagner in Russia. So they are acting illegally, and those are the ones who went into forest of Lily Mother Valley or whatever they call it, and then they go there, create another forces within them, call it a Bubag, call it a ESN, with a inscription, the Biafra or whatever, just to make sure that they keep on taking money either from the Imo government or from whoever, and make sure that the whole area is militarized. They are the one that is involved in all these killings. But at the end, you know what they will say? It is IPOB and Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. And Uzodinma knows this because Uzodinma is the one who contacted these people. So when Uzodinma come out and told us that IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, and ESN is not responsible for the killings, you know what he's saying? And yet, my fellow Igbo brothers are still condemning Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, blaming the zoo why they did not give him a death sentence instead of life. You can imagine that nonsense. Anyway, I don't blame them because anything money cannot do does not exist. Northern Muslims call for the arrest of U.S. missionary Alex Barbier amid Plateau violence controversy. Let me tell these people, they don't know this guy, Alex Barbier. This guy is a ABI. He's a secret CIA agent in Nigeria. If anything happens to this guy, Nigeria is finished. And what they call him, Shegumi, continue running your mouth. You go run this mouth go run you into trouble. But don't worry. You go see something very soon. My people, I beg let us listen to this clip and we'll come back to discuss more.
Northern Muslims call for arrest of U.S. missionary Alex Barbier amid Plateau violence controversy.
Prominent voices within Nigeria's northern Muslim community have demanded the arrest and investigation of American missionary and humanitarian worker Alex Barbier, accusing him of inciting religious tensions following deadly attacks in Plateau State. The calls intensified after recent killings in Jos North, particularly in areas like Angwan Rukuba and Barikin Ladi, where gunmen killed several people, including Christians. Barbier, known for his frequent visits to violence-affected communities in the Middle Belt, has been vocal in highlighting what he describes as targeted attacks on Christians. Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, an influential Islamic cleric, reportedly urged the Department of State Services, DSS, to arrest Barbier, while other northern Muslim figures and groups echoed similar sentiments. Critics claim Barbier has been spreading narratives that portray Muslims as systematically persecuting Christians, citing Quranic verses in speeches at funerals, and accusing the government of failing to protect Christian citizens. In statements circulating on social media, some Muslim leaders described Barbier's activities as incitement to religious hatred and questioned his frequent presence at crisis scenes. They called on the Nigerian government to investigate whether he is operating as a missionary, humanitarian, or with other motives, raising concerns about potential foreign interference in domestic religious affairs. Barbier has pushed back against the backlash. In responses shared online, he expressed frustration that calls for his arrest come while he advocates for victims of violence. Supporters, including Christian leaders in Plateau, view him as a voice for persecuted communities and a humanitarian who has helped rebuild homes for displaced persons in states like Benue and Plateau.
A lot of people have given Ezekiel hate for saying that Allah is a bloodsucker. But what I want to ask is, what does the Quran and the Hadith teach? I will not say Allah is a bloodsucker, but I will preach and tell you what the Quran says. Surah 9:29. It says, fight those who disbelieve in Allah. In the Hadith, it says that the greatest form of jihad is religious fighting. So when Fulani come into the village and they chant Allahu Akbar, and they kill your families, it should not be a surprise. When Muslims are commanded to fight those who disbelieve, it's no surprise they seek you. Was this boy a Muslim? Was this boy a Muslim? Have any of the people here been Muslims that have been killed? So why is it that they're only killing Christians? Are they clashing with you? Is this just a clash between farmers and herders? Where are your AK-47s? Are you clashing with the Fulani? You're being innocently slaughtered. And the ones who are in charge of protecting your life are not doing it. Even Christian leaders, they will say that, oh, I can't talk about the government because it's political. Since when is death and life a political issue? Since when is saying that you have the right to live a political and governmental issue? If you don't have the right to breathe, what right do you have? What good is a road? What good is a borehole when you can't?
In Okabu, they just murdered over 10 people. Innocent Christians. On Palm Sunday. Tinubu, where are you? As your people are slaughtered in the night, as you sit in Aso Rock and you do absolutely nothing, you allow your people to be killed again and again and again and again. When will it stop? When will you hear the cries of Nigerians, of Christians? You can no longer deny genocide. They're being slaughtered. And you say there's no issue. You will regret what you are doing.
Reverend Ezekiel Dachimo, a Plateau-based pastor associated with Barbier's work, issued a strong warning against any harm coming to the American, stating that attempts to silence him would not go unchallenged.
Picture of Alex Barbier. He's far better than you. He identified himself with us. Look at in the hospital, even Muslims were affected. Whom you, Gumi, you used to bargain money from the federal government to compensate the terrorists, while Alex is here to tend the wound of those that have been affected by the people that you are giving money to them, negotiating on their behalf. What sort of religion is that? What sort of religion? So now you put his picture so that your terrorist people will lock him, will track him and kill him. Let me tell you, mark my words. Anything can happen to Alex Barbier, I assure you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ whom you serve, I release curse into your bedroom. You will never know peace. And I'm ready to face you. Put my picture in your program.
The controversy erupted against the backdrop of recurring violence in Plateau State, where Christian communities have suffered casualties from Islamic extremists' attacks. Barbier's critics argue that his statements oversimplify complex conflicts and risk escalating religious divides. His defenders counter that highlighting specific attacks on Christians does not equate to incitement, especially given documented patterns of violence in the region. As of April 1st, 2026, no official action has been confirmed by the DSS or federal government regarding Barbier. The case has sparked heated debates online, with many Nigerians divided along religious lines. Some praising Barbier for drawing international attention to the plight of vulnerable communities, while Muslim communities see his activism as inflammatory. This development underscores the fragile religious balance in Nigeria's Middle Belt, where security challenges continue to fuel suspicion and counter-accusations between communities.
Northern Muslims
And that is the end of the news. I don't think you need any other thing again, apart from what you have just heard. So use your tongue to count your teeth. Anybody, anywhere, anytime, any day, who tells you IPOB, ESN, or BIAFRANS kills, my brother, always play this video to them. Always save this video for that day. Asari Dokubo, Hope, David Umahi are the killers in Imo State and the BOYZ State. These guys are called. Asari Dokubo's men buried 7 of my village guys in Akokwa, Imo State. Yes, in Akokwa, Imo State. Anyway, let me arrest my case here. And I go hear my voice again when I come back. Please circulate this message, let it go viral. Catch you next time.